Fighting games are such a unique part of gaming. Each title is so different across the genre. Mortal Kombat has its bone-crunching moves and blood-soaked fatalities and combo-focused core gameplay. Killer Instinct is a lively art style, combo-breaking gameplay, and Street Fighter for those who can quarter circle with the best of them. And then there is Tekken, the fighting game that gives you more options than you could ever dream of using. More directions, more moves, more mechanics, and more than one bear character. Not to mention the very legacy of Tekken itself, yet despite all of that overwhelming choice, the true strength of Tekken shines through in Tekken 8, rising to new heights to break the chains of the past while also paying homage to what came before. A game that is simultaneously deeply complex and incredibly easy to pick up. Tekken 8 embodies this to the extreme, from incredibly well-balanced characters all the way to its excellent tutorial modes embedded in the game's core mission design. 20 years later, and this is Tekken at its best. Starting out with a thunderous first step, Tekken 8 shows its colors immediately, with one of the most anime, off-the-walls, intense showdowns ever, right at the start of the story. Taking to the skies, delivering building-crumbling blows, Kazuya and Jin are going head-to-head, devil to devil if you will, and New York is just a casualty of this. This opening is as epically scaled as you'd expect out of a final battle in other games. But it's just the beginning. Tekken 8 is on a different level. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with its often cheesy but always charming story mode. And while it delivered no big twist, there were some great battles, one-liners, and spectacle to behold. The last few chapters in particular are wonderful. Sidebar, does anyone know if in the Tekken universe, like, everyone speaks all the language? Like, Leroy is from New York and speaks English, but he can understand Victor, the French-speaking UN assassin who uses a cyber katana for some reason. Plus, I'm not sure, but I think Paul can understand Kuma. That's a bear, right? Did I miss the part where everyone has insta-translate? There's like no language barriers at all in the Tekken universe? Huh? What? No? That's crazy. Anyway, the story's themes about not taking on things all alone, power not being absolute, and that your past doesn't define you may be steeped in the deepest of cheese, but they still ring true when it comes time. Outside of the usual offerings of story mode and arcade mode, Tekken 8 offers a fantastic variety of offline and online modes to explore. Arcade Quest was a pleasant surprise, offering you a chance to rise up the ranks of the Tekken fighting game circuit. You'll be playing Tekken arcade cabinets where you play Tekken 8 inside Tekken 8. It's not that deep, but it's a little deep. Taking on NPCs from different arcades, all while learning and mastering important skills about the core game. I love this as a way to introduce both tournament play to newcomers and also as a fantastic introduction to the game's more vague sounding mechanics such as the heat meter. Speaking of the heat meter, let's talk about the dramatic shift in the play of Tekken 8. The heat meter is a meter that you have from the start of every match. It's full right from the beginning, and it changes the way that this game plays entirely. It grants you a slightly armored move to be able to deploy at any time with the tap of an R1, which then opens up a bevy of options for you to utilize for the remaining part of its meter. You can close the distance by dashing. You can use moves that are only open during heat. But it also allows you to use a special signature move that's executable by pressing R1 an additional time. This does a ton of aggressive damage and allows you to come back from close to death situations. What's great about this is that not only does it allow for a far more aggressive offensive style, which is great because Tekken in its nature has always been a more defense-heavy game, but flat out rewards that offensive mindset. Because not only has Bandai Namco introduced some heat into the mix, but also recoverable health. This makes every clash of fists a deadly balancing act, and a literal battle for your life. This one minute change fundamentally altered how I play Tekken. No more waiting and striking at key moments, now I make the openings myself. You never stop chaining things together. You can't die if they never hit you. I love this addition because it gave me more of the cinematic, I totally have enough health to pull this off moments that I adore from this game. Recoverable health also works really well with the heat mechanic that I spoke on earlier. Heat goes beyond just those basic inputs that I mentioned, offering increases that allow for that never let up offensive mindset to really play out. It gives you bonuses like increased chip damage and also allows you to recover more of the health that you are missing. It can be initially jarring, but once you get past the opening flurry, Tekken 8 is all the better for these systems. The vast amount of available tutorial onboarding is also great help to newcomers. And if you are feeling particularly wary, you can toggle on special mode to access easy mode. I'm just kidding. To pull off some canned combos with single button inputs. It's truly an astonishing level of care for new players to become lifetime fans. Unfortunately, this offensive playstyle can result in some frustration, mostly at the hands of some of the more pressure-heavy characters like Kazuya and Hwarang, who are living their best life in this new the best offense is more offense world. Reading and sidestepping is already hard enough, but when you add in blocking and a lack of wake-up attacks, punishing these characters can become increasingly difficult, which is good because I really like playing as Hwarang. And though, like I said, this is somewhat addressed in how well the characters are balanced in their movesets, I do think that there is some room for some improvement here. And speaking of the character balance, despite adding 3 new characters, Tekken 8 maintains a familiar and well-rounded roster. And I absolutely cherish these new additions. Victor is a suave and cool French UN spy who uses a cyber katana alongside some karambit and kukri knives. Azucena is an MMA fighter who is weirdly obsessed with coffee. I mean, that's the only thing she talks about the entire game. She gets into the conflict because of coffee. What? And then there's Reina, who definitely isn't the Heihachi replacement in this game. Like, for sure. Don't look into that. She's not gonna do the mini poses of Heihachi. You can't prove it. Though I think of these 3, Victor has to be my favorite. His mix of spectacular flashy moves, sword setups, and quick stabs make for some of the most satisfying to pull off combos in the game. And hey, if you don't like some of the newer character designs for this game, and I'm looking at you, Paul, what did they do to my boy? Don't worry, because the staple character customization is back, and thank God, Paul's flat top is there as an option. The customizations are a little lackluster for some of the characters, but it's always goofy fun making these absurd characters even more ridiculous. Especially when combined with my favorite new addition to this game, the AI Ghost Fighters. This is a real-time AI fighter that learns from players and becomes more like them over time, letting you challenge shadows of online opponents or even your darker self. I love taking on various AI shadows only for them to adapt to me halfway through the match and force me to change up my tactics entirely so I would not be crushed. Tekken 8 is the culmination of 20 plus years of nearly perfected 3D fighting. New mechanics go a long way here to keep the gameplay interesting, while new characters make the rosters feel more like it's evolving than ever. Between its excellently handled online mode and the large number of play options for offline, there really is something for every kind of fighting game fan. Tekken 8 is proof that if it ain't broke, then keep punching, which lands at a 9 on our scale. Truly excellent. For Hardwired, I'm Andrew Hamilton.